Welcome, everybody, to Which Game First, where we explore the hilariously huge world of board games. Did we find any hidden treasures you've been missing out on? Let's find out. First up this week, we write narrative masterpieces one card at a time in Hardback. Next up, we gather in the forest to bet on which of our magic animals will become legends in Equinox. And lastly, we're space-traveling explorers logging our latest finds in Big Monsters. I'm your host, Celeste Angeles, here with my decades-long gaming buddies, Evan Bernstein.
Hello, everyone.
Ed Povolitis.
Hi, guys.
And Mike Grenier.
I have arrived!
Our first game up this week is Hardback, designed by Jeff Beck and Tim Fowers, published by Fowers Games in 2018. Number of players, 1 to 5, ages 10 and up, playtime, 45 to 90 minutes. And Mikey, tell us what's in the box.
The cover of the box is both fancy and simple, featuring a fabric-textured maroon backdrop emblazoned with its name in classy black and gold font, packed with sexy curves. Inside, we discover 50 starting cards, 6 literary award cards, 5 player cards, 5 player power cards, 2 co-op penny dreadful cards, 38 ink tokens, 18 remover tokens, 5 player tokens, and a prestige tracker board. And that's what's in the box.
Well, before we tell you of this game, put a spell on us. Evan, crack the spine on the rulebook.
Hardback. It is a deck-building card game where the object is to spell out words that yield the most points. Okay. All players begin with a starter deck. Draw 5 cards into your hand. Spell a word using the cards. Cards can count for victory points or as money to buy new cards from the community pool. If you're in need of a specific letter that you don't have in your hand, you can create that specific letter by turning any other card in your hand into a wild card, any letter you want. The trade-off is that wild cards don't yield victory points or money. So there's your trade-off. Now, the cards are also arranged by suits, or in this case, genres. They are genres of stories. So if you play 2 or more cards with the same genre and in the same word, it will trigger special scoring and actions. You use your money to buy new cards or to buy ink, and ink allows you to add cards to your hand from your deck. But be careful. If you draw a card, put it in your hand using ink, and you use that letter must be played. It cannot be turned into a wild card. It might alter your plans for crafting that perfect word. There you have it.
Well, guys, you played this on Board Game Arena. It does seem like a basic-looking game. How did it look?
I think it looked pretty nice. I mean, you get a whole bunch of cards, and it's a deck-building game. And the letters are very stylized.
Yeah. Maybe a little too stylized, Mike?
I agree 100%. I bought a J thinking it was an I.
Oh, no.
Right.
Very
That's
sad.
a big difference in usability between the letter J and the letter I.
And a vowel? Yeah, it was rough. For the rest of the game, I have this J that keeps getting stuck in my hand, and I, you know how tight I like to make the deck, right? So I'm trimming cards out of it and like keeping it nice and tight, and that J just kept coming up every turn. I'm like, Raja, jar,
Jamboree,
jams, you know, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Oh,
yeah.
I'm
but
sorry
otherwise
I
it
missed
looked
that.
nice.
Oh man! Oh, you would have laughed so hard at my frustration, Celeste. I was so frustrated. I thought the letters were cool though.
Yeah.
They had a cool style to them. Each had their own genre look. Like there was like a horror one that looked kind of wavy and like creepy, and then the fancy like newspapery looking one. And a lot of times you're spelling words with letters from totally different genres, like kind of stuck together, which reminded me of the old school like ransom note that you always used to see on a TV show, where they clip out the letters and string them together.
Yeah, I can see that from the visuals here. That would remind you of that. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Okay, so you're building words for that long. Does it get a little dry? I mean, what's happening?
Well, it's a deck builder, right? So you're shuffling these cards together of just letters, you know. So you're flipping over. Oh, this turn I got B, L, A, C, G. What am I going to spell with those? So every turn is different, but you're also kind of honing your deck as you go to be like letters that are likely to spell a word. And of course, the cost of certain letters is higher, especially depending on if it's out of the classic RSTNLE group.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, the more
Your Wheel of
ones
Fortune letters.
Exactly,
Yeah,
your
they can
free
get
Wheel of
expensive.
Fortune letters. Yeah.
Right.
Also, each player is a genre.
Yeah.
In other words, if I was the love story genre, and I start drafting and playing love story cards, I get additional bonuses come up as a result of that, or more victory, or more points for me.
Anytime you played more than one letter of the same genre, you can trigger bonuses, and you can
But
actually
each player
trigger
also
multiple
has-
genres in
Yeah.
the same word. I think.
Yeah. And like Evan was saying too, if it's your particular genre, you get some other kind of special bonus with it.
Yeah, we are each assigned a genre. So I wanted to draft. That gives me the impetus to want to draft more of those cards that match my genre, so I can maximize the bonuses that get yielded as a result, and up my frustration level when Ed or Mike decides to buy those cards off of the community deck, and I have them.
Yeah, I stole that J from you.
Yes, you
Yeah.
did. Actually, I could have used it too.
Yeah, that is brutal in a word game when you're hoping for a letter and you just see it being used. Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
or the worst is it's in your deck and you like, oh, there's only 2 or 3 cards left in the deck right now. I know which one of the ones I want. So you spend your ink, right? Which is something you get at the end of a turn for not spending your money. You get a certain amount of money each turn by the card you played, and if you don't spend it, it turns into ink points. So you can use the ink the next turn to draw an extra card that turn. But
Yeah,
you
you
have
can build.
to use
Yeah.
it.
The nice thing about ink is you build larger words. Even though you're stuck, you can't change those cards drawn with ink into anything else other than the letters they are. But you can have 8 and 9 letter words at that point. You're not restricted to lower 5 and 6 card words or
Yep.
6 letter
Which
words.
is kind of a push your luck mechanic because you're drawing these cards with a lock. But then you can get ink remover.
Yeah.
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 Whiteout?
Scrub. Yeah, sort of.
Basically, it was.
Yeah. You take a letter and kind of white it out.
Yeah.
That is what it was.
Real helpful.
nice.
Yep.
So, Ed, it says here you can look up words. Did you like that, Ed?
Yeah, you could actually. They had their BGA had I think 2 features that made it, I think maybe even slightly better than playing it in person in the sense. Well, you can. One was the ability to look up words right there in the interface. I mean, you're on the internet, you could Google anything, I suppose. But what you do when you set up the game, you can actually select which dictionary you want to be the official dictionary for the game.
Yeah.
And that's what you use for the lookup in the built-in game.
Okay, okay. How big a nerd do you have to be to have a specific dictionary in mind?
I prefer the Webster's 3rd edition classic.
I prefer Baby's First A through Z.
I would say a word game nerd. That's what kind of nerd
Yeah.
you need to be.
Kind of
For
nerd
sure.
that likes this game, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Give the
I
people
think
what they
the other
want.
feature that I thought was really good about Board Game Arena is that any card in your hand you can turn into a wild. Okay, but I imagine that in the physical version that you just put it upside down. Well,
Yeah,
here,
you flip
when
it.
you flip it upside down, you can actually select what letter you want it to be. So you can actually visually see the letter and jumble them together and put. I think it helped me being able to see the letter I turned it into
Right.
and turn it into a word.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it's totally worth it too to try to make a word that you wouldn't have otherwise had. Is to just have that available, like, even though you're losing the points for it, but you're still getting a longer word. And for long words, I think there's special bonuses for certain lengths of words anyway. So to
That's
have
right.
a wild in there helps, to lengthen that word into some
I know.
special
I had an
bonuses.
8-letter word at one point. Then Mike came along with a 9-letter word and stole the long word bonus right out from under me.
Whoa,
I think it
9
was like
letters.
the next turn too. Yeah, 9 letters.
What was it? Do you remember the 9-letter
Oh,
word?
geez,
Was there a J in it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mahjong
there's no
or something.
Yeah.
Well,
7, yeah.
does BGA, you know how sometimes BGA does things for you? Board Game Arena will auto-calculate scores for you, so you kind of don't know what's happening. Sometimes it goes too fast. Does it do anything here for you, like help you form, like show you options for like all the words you can form or anything like that?
Not for the
it
spelling of the
didn't do that.
words.
No.
The score calculation, how much money you get, how much ink and all that, it does that stuff automatically. And at first I wasn't really getting the concept that my leftover points were going to ink. I'm like, man, I need some ink. Where am I going to get it from? And because I guess I missed that rule along the way somewhere. So I was like seeing the ink counter go up every once in a while, and it took me a minute to figure out why. But yeah, other than that, it didn't hold your hand as far as like spelling the words.
Not really. I think the other thing it helps with is like it'll let you know that you triggered a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Like have an option to like, oh, you can trigger this effect if you want. It's like, oh, I could. Let me get that little thing.
Yeah, this might be one of those rare cases where I prefer the online version for the little like quality of life stuff that it adds to it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I could see that. With word games, I could totally see that.
Sure. Playing well
Yeah.
online, yeah.
Yeah, Boggle plays well online. I know that.
Yeah.
You don't get to shake the box, but...
Oh,
Yeah.
So, Ed, you can make a wild at any time, you said?
Yeah, that was nice. There's like the ability to turn the card over and
Yeah.
it's like, I got this really long word, but you know what? If I turn this into a Z, I can make a Zeppelin. Yay!
That's what you guys were just talking about. Okay, yeah, that would be handy.
yeah.
That's probably a lifesaver in some cases,
It
right?
makes it so you
yeah.
don't waste your turn.
Oh,
Like,
gosh.
every-
I used a wild card almost every word I spelled.
Oh,
yeah, in the beginning of the game too, your options are kind of limited, so
Yeah,
if
because
you
our
wanna do
starter
anything
hands have
interesting,
your starter
just
deck.
very basic, very basic.
okay, explorers, it's time to dig up or bury Hardback. Evan?
Hardback, it's a very good deck builder game, especially for those who have an affinity for games like, Scrabble, Wordle, and these sorts of things. It adds dimensions, assessing values to the monetary values to the letters, and also the genres, and unlocking all those bonuses. But it was easy and fun. Dig it up.
Ed?
Well, word games are not exactly something I typically go and seek out. They're not my favorites. But this one wasn't bad. Partly because it was a deck builder, so it was scratching a different itch, and partly because I think BGA, Board Game Arena, improved the experience for me. So for those reasons, I'm going to give it a light dig.
Wow, Ed digging up a word game.
yeah,
I
you
didn't
know
think
it's
so.
good, right?
Mike?
It ticked my deck building box. It ticked my word creation box. It was cool to look at. I mean, the font really irked me a little. That was the only thing I had a real big problem with.
Yeah, it's true.
The scoring wasn't too complicated or anything like that, too. And anybody who likes to play games like Scrabble, I think would like to pick this one up. So I'd say dig it up.
All right. Well, if we want to know what your favorite word game is, give us a shout out. We are on social media at Which Game First and on Discord. See you there. Hey, everybody. What is going on with Which Game First?
Which Game First is live on Monday nights, 8 o'clock, East Coast time in the United States. We are playing board games online live. We just reviewed one called Hardback, which definitely played at BGA, and you can go to our videos that are out there and see the archives of those. But we would prefer that you join us live for those games because we interact with you. We take your suggestions as the ideal next move to play. We do commentary, we do feedback, we take your requests for different things, and we play trivia with you. So it's a very interactive experience. It's not just watching us figure out how a game works. We want you to be a part of that experience as well.
If you do want to check out our live games on Monday nights, that's great. If you want to check them out after, they are under our live tab on our Which Game First channel, or you can probably just type in Which Game First on Google with the name of the game, and it'll probably pop up that way. But if you're going to our YouTube channel, check all our latest live shows.
Oh, yeah. We had one of our patrons sent us a really cool game that we can't wait to try. And they love the game so much, we're going to let them kind of chime in with their own version of Dig Up or Bury when we do the review, too. So thank
Can't
you,
wait for
Zorag,
that.
very much. I can't wait. This game looks crazy. So we'll tell
Coming
you all
soon.
about it. Yes, coming very soon.
Coming soon, Zorag's Dig Up Her Berry. And we want to give a shout out to all our patrons. Thank you so much, patrons. If you've got a couple of extra dollars, you're maybe with your New Year's resolution, you're buying less coffee. Spend that money on becoming a patron for Which Game First. It helps us keep the lights on for just $3 a month. You get access to our bonus points podcast, and it is live now on Discord, so you can come hang out with us live while we record the show, listen to us, and interact with us while we're recording. It is a great deal of fun for our patrons, and you can also just listen to it on any of your podcatchers right in your feed. Just go to our website, click on Become a Patron today. And thank you, everybody. Happy New Year. And we're looking so forward to another year of board game reviews with you and board game exploring.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Our next game up this week is Equinox, designed by Reiner and Isia, published by Plan B Games in 2021. Number of players 2 to 5, ages 10 and up. Playtime 40 to 60 minutes. Okay, Mike, tell us what's in the box.
The cover of the box brings us to a mythic forest where a majestic elk pulses with swirling magic as he stands proudly atop a lichen-covered boulder with his moss-bedecked antler rack on full display. He seems to be smiling ever so slightly. Inside, we discover 199 cards consisting of 14 unique champions, 6 row cards, 154 creatures, 11 chameleons, 3 trees, and 11 disappearance cards. There's also 25 prediction pebbles and 5 pebble baggos.
Baggo.
Baggo.
5 of them.
And that's what's in the box.
Well, before we tell you if bigger is better, I'm sorry. Before we tell you if this game springs or falls, Evan, gallop over to the rules.
Get it, springs or falls, Equinox?
Oh, boy.
That was great. Thank you, Celeste. So, Equinox.
No problem, Evan.
It's a card game of predictions, where the object is to place your bets on which 3 out of the 8 creatures of the forest are going to make it to the end of the game. The better your bets, the more points you get. 8 creatures. Now, each creature has their own row, and each row, or each, 8 creatures have their own columns, and each row is a round. There's 5 rounds in total. But in each round, an animal is going to be eliminated from advancing to the next round. Players have 8 cards in their hand. Cards are any of the 8 animals numbered 0 through 10. 10 is the strongest value, 0 the weakest. So if you have, say, a 10 of bunny rabbits in your hand, chances are pretty good that the bunny rabbit's going to survive that first round. With that information in mind, you start by placing your bet on which animal will survive the round. I have the 10 of bunnies, so I'm going to bet that bunnies are going to survive the first round. I place one of my betting stones in that position on the grid. Everybody's going to place their bets. Then the cards will start filling the row. One player at a time, one card at a time. Now it's my turn. Down goes the 10 of bunnies on the row where I placed my bet. Haha. Now it's Ed's turn, and oh no! He had a bunny in his hand as well. It's the 0 of bunnies. Oh, he puts it on top of my 10. He trumps my 10 with that 0. He just changed my 10 of bunnies into a 0. Now my bet looks terrible. And then once players are done placing their cards and establishing the strength of each of those 8 animals, I see that my bunny's a 0. It's the lowest of all the other animals in the first round. Bunny is eliminated, and my first round bet is not going to score me any points at the end of the game. Now, there are a lot more rules, but that's basically how a round plays out. And you do this for 5 rounds until there are no more animal cards to play. The 3 animals that survive to the end, players add up the bets for those 3 animal columns that survived. Highest score wins, and such is the school of Hard Equinox.
Hard Equinox. Nice.
And they become legend, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Final
yes,
thing.
they
absolutely.
become legend. There are no bunnies, but they do become legend.
Well, I just,
Yeah.
an easy
Well-
example we could all follow.
You played this game on Board Game Arena. It's very colorful. How did it look?
It looked great. I mean, the art is there. They obviously have access to the actual art to make the game, and you can see the art of all these. I don't know. They seem really cheerful creatures just staring at you.
Yeah, even the monstrous ones, like the real monstery ones, like are smiling. You know, moss-covered ogre with like happy branches and little flowers all over and stuff like that. So it's really peaceful.
Yeah, they're all trying to, they're doing their best win friends and influence people here because they're trying to impress you and get into those legends.
Yeah, it's like less of a fight and more of like a pageant.
Yeah, okay. A charisma challenge.
Yeah, charisma challenge. Right? Exactly.
Celeste, do you have a display of the Equinox cover for your background?
Oh, yeah. Here we go. How
switch
pretty
that
is
over
this?
real quick.
For those of us who wish to listen on YouTube, you can see the covers of all of the games that we play right behind me on our YouTube video version of the podcast. If you ever want to go there and check them out, they're published weekly along with the episode on your favorite podcatcher.
Yeah.
So you get to see all of us chatting with each other.
I'm hoping my vivid description of the box cover is enough to get you by if you can't actually see us.
I think your descriptions are always magnificent.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, this particular game has two different covers. One is the purple one with the stag and the antlers. The other one is the green one with the giant ogre on it.
Yeah.
Is there a difference? Or
Yeah,
just...
why are there two box covers? Do we know?
I don't know why, but they put out two different box covers. The content of the games are the same, but they had different covers. Like, think of it as your like a comic book that has the alternate cover art.
Alternate art,
yes, but which one's the alternate?
Well, you can choose for yourself just which one you want.
It's smart because you have to really buy them both now.
Okay. If you're a true collector.
That's right.
All right, Mike, are you going for the ogre or the stag?
Well, when we played, I actually went for the stag. So I'm going to stick with the stag because it was good luck. But also, it's so nice and purple.
The ogre is great. I have a soft spot
cute.
for green guys, so
he's really cute. He's really cute. I guess. Although, if you look at his thing, he has these branches that are weaved around, kind of like a wrestling outfit. One shoulder, like Andre the Giant, but it's still not covering anything. It's supposed to be for modesty purposes, but he's not covering anything with it.
It's midriff. Its midriff is covered.
Yeah, that's true. It covered his belly button.
might just be a weight harness, for lifting.
Sure.
A lifting belt.
It's a ceremonial garment, like a toga.
Toga. It's a very small toga.
Okay, so we've established that the art is quite attractive.
Art is cool, yeah.
All right, so Evan, there's secret betting.
So
how
again,
is it?
When I explained it, you bet on which animals you think are going to survive. However, there is an opportunity, and you must do it in the first round of the game only, to have an optional secret bet, in which you're going to secretly make a bet as to which of the animals is going to survive. Now, this is tricky. It's worth a lot of points if it winds up coming true, but you're really taking kind of a risk in a pretty large sense that it's going to happen. And again, you only have 5 total stones to play. So if you choose one to make a bet for a secret bet in the first round of the game, you're only going to have 4 more stones throughout the rest of the game to place on your face-up bets, which you have more control over, I would say, to a degree, rather than relying on your secret bet to have the big payoff.
But yeah, and as the game goes on, the bets become less valuable because you have less failed options. You already know
more cards
1,
have been
2,
exposed.
or 3 that are eliminated.
There's a lot more information as the rounds go on, so therefore the bets have lower payback as the rounds
The creature is
continue.
eliminated each round, so you already know who's a sucker bet, as it were.
Yeah, right.
But you have to make your secret bet in the first round. You can't
Right.
You can't wait until
The only
later in
time
the
you can
game.
get that $5 bet.
I mean, why would you play a gambling risk press your luck game without taking the big risk right in the beginning? I mean, come on.
It's weighted. I think it's
we all
weighted
did.
appropriately.
It is weighted appropriately. But I mean, the only information you have to go on in that first round before anything gets played is what's in your hand. So if you have a really strong hand in one suit, or some cards that can alter it to come back to win for your suit, then it's definitely worth it. But if you have a kind of a medium mixed hand, kind of like the worst hand in any hearts or spades,
Balanced and low.
balanced and low. Yeah, if you have balanced and low, it makes it really
You're not
difficult to
gonna
predict
wanna
what's
take
going to
that bet,
happen.
probably. Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. That's very interesting.
It can be a bit of a challenge because if you can play a card, you must, and it can be like, I don't really want to play this card.
Oh, yeah.
I want to save it for later.
There's a you may not want to, but you must rule.
Oh yeah.
The only available spot is this 0 on the card I'm betting on, so I have to play it because it's available. Yeah.
All right. But you try to save your good cards for later.
I try to.
Yeah.
Also,
Try.
there's people holding counter cards to them for later too. Maybe though, you know, like they see that you, because the longer the game goes on, the more you start to figure out where people's secret bets might be, and you can see their previous bets, so you know they're going heavy into that one creature. You might be saving that foil for like a later round for them, so they might play their 10 late, and you just kill it. You know.
That's right, and you have to plan on foiling the other players. It has to be part of your strategy, or you're probably not going to win this game. So the game has this built-in. Can you call it backstab mechanism? Is that what?
I mean,
basically
the game is built to stab each other. I don't know if it's backstabbing, if it's a stabbing game.
Well, for lack of maybe a better term.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
Though.
it's definitely competitive, and you want to keep some cards that, well, maybe not necessarily directly foil your opponents, but having a 0 in your hand, it can be very helpful because only the lowest numbered, spirit is eliminated each round. So if somebody like, I put my 8 out there and Mikey, he lowered it down to a 2. Well, now I got a 0. I can make something else a 0, making my 2 actually survive. Yay!
Right, exactly. Plus, you know not to bet in that suit because eventually you'll get stuck playing that 0 in your own suit that you're trying to win with.
Right.
Yeah, so having that card's a lot. Yeah, you have a lot of information actually, and control.
Yep.
And control.
That's good. So, Evan, did you want to talk about the trees or the chameleons?
Oh yeah, chameleons and trees. So there are some cards in there that are chameleons, and they're the number 5, I believe, on the strength scale. But you can place them anywhere you want. So a chameleon can go in any animal row, right? So it's not limited to any suit.
Okay.
So there you go. It's a 5. The trees do not have a number value, but they can trigger special powers and abilities and game rules effectively. That can mess some things up. I don't have any of the cards in front of me. Do I have any trees in front of me that I can read and see what some of the trees do? You can switch things around, numbers. You can flip-flop, do some flipping of cards and moving them.
I think there's a way to force a card back into somebody's hand.
Yeah, or if one's been covered up, I think you can bring it back to the top or something if it was played. So it does those sorts of special things.
Each animal had their own special power. Like one of our animal's special power is they have a plus a half.
Oh,
yeah,
0.5, right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
right. So if you are in control of one of the animals, meaning you have one of your betting stones on one of the highest surviving marked animals, you can trigger its special power, and each of the 8 animals each have a special power onto that class of animal, which you can use to your benefit.
And kind of, in my opinion, too, if you really study the different powers, that's kind of where there might be some imbalance, where it might just behoove you to bet on a certain animal every game because it has an edge over the other ones because of the value of its special ability. Like I think it was a lion type creature or something that, like you said, has a 0.5, so it wins ties. So if you want to be the highest in the category, or not be the lowest, it's like worth a plus 0.5. So
all right, okay, I like that. That's cool. Okay, so it sounds to me like, well, I want to ask you this. Does theme inform play, or is this just a skin sitting on top of a game?
I think that the special abilities matched their counterpart art pretty well, which made you think of them in the way that they're supposed to be thought of, I think is a good way to say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that sounds like they did a good job with specificity in the game.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it didn't seem arbitrary, yeah.
Okay, explorers, it's time to dig up or bury Equinox. Ed?
Equinox can be both simple and a little tricky to play. There is a lot of randomness in how you get the cards out of the deck, though. luck of the draw, as it were. But I thought it was fun to try to figure out how to do the best you can with the cards you've been dealt. And for that reason, I'm going to dig it up for the next Equinox.
All right.
Yeah. The hand you're dealt. Like bridge with animals. Mike?
It was really pretty to look at. But if I want a game that's also beautiful to look at and gives me a chance to kind of guess what other people are thinking, I think I'd rather turn towards something like Dixit instead. It's not a terrible game. It's okay, but for me, I'll just kind of shallowly throw some dust over it, bury it just a little bit.
Evan?
Equinox, a no-holds-barred game of bets, wits, and fits. That's how I describe it. You have to assume you're going to be the target of the other players. It's actually an essential part of the game. So if that competitiveness is your thing, I think you're going to love the game. All others beware. Dig it up.
Well, we would love to know, would you buy a game twice just to have a copy of the alternative cover art?
Edward.
Let us know. I'm really curious about this, so do let us know. We are at Which Game First on all social media and Discord. Our last game up this week is Big Monster, designed by Dimitri Perrier, published by Explore 8 in 2018. Number players 2 to 6, ages 10 and up, playtime 25 minutes. Okay, Mikey, tell us what's in the box.
The cover of the box shows us either a very small planet with average-sized monsters on it, or a normal-sized planet with super gargantuan creatures vying for much-needed space on its surface. Either way, they're all very weird, very unique-looking aliens, and they are everywhere. Inside the box, you'll find a circular game board, which is double-sided, 120 monster tiles, 24 mutation tiles, 12 explorer/ship tiles, 38 medals and a first player token, 4 reference cards, and a final scoring pad. And that's what's in the box.
Well, before we find out if this game is a big find, Evan, explore the rules.
All right, I'm giving you to them straight from the game designers themselves. These rules come
I like
from
that.
them. I will read it. Big Monster. You're an explorer who has been traveling through space, looking for new planets for the Federation, and you've just discovered one that's not yet indexed. It's an opportunity to identify new creatures, discover rare resources, and fulfill intergalactic missions. This is the challenge you are facing. Earn the most victory points in order to make your exploration successful. It's a smart drafting and tile laying game that's played in 2 rounds, just 2 rounds. On a turn, each player simultaneously chooses a tile from their hand, places it face down in front of them, then immediately gives their remaining tiles to another player of their choice who hasn't already been given tiles. There's your smart drafting. At the end of the game, each player owns 18 tiles in their exploration space. You earn victory points by finding monsters, completing crystals, and achieving missions. The player with the most victory points at the end of the second round wins. Big Monster.
2 rounds. Wow.
Yeah.
2 rounds. I mean,
Well, they're drafting
that's a game you can
rounds,
sink
you
your
know.
teeth into. Right?
Draft round. So
Yeah.
2 rounds of 9 tiles.
Yeah,
So
your 9
you get
passes
18.
or 8 passes. So, yeah.
Essentially 18 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, if you count
Well,
each
18
part of the
holes.
draft as,
Yeah.
as a part of a round, yeah.
Right, 18 actions, basically.
18
Okay.
actions, yeah.
All right, so we played this game on Board Game Arena, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so what did we think of how it looked?
Well, I thought the monsters were kind of unique. I wish there was a little more asymmetry, but I don't know if anything that grows organically is very often asymmetrical. But, like, other than that, they looked weird and kind of cool, like
You'd
sorta
find them in
different.
space?
As if you
Like,
were
yeah,
really-
or some weird planet, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the colors were a little flat. In that there was plenty of color, but they almost matched too much.
Yeah, like the pink and yellow are a little
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
blendy, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a little bit of an issue for me. Also, the locations of the stuff you had to look at, like the little crystals in the corners and the rings at the top or bottom of the picture got a little bit lost. They could have been a little bit more distinct.
Right, and they're an important part of the symbology of the game because that's how you get your points, by matching up those edges to different circles
Right.
or gems or whatever, or different terrain types.
That was part of your way of triggering bonuses by completing little patterns of gems or circles and stuff.
Yeah, and
Resources.
and you can lock them off pretty fast, right? So you're just like, oops, didn't see that there. It's gone. I already put a card next to it. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and you have
As
to
a
lay these
typical,
tiles
once you
every
place
turn.
it down, you don't really have opportunity to rearrange it very much.
Exactly, yeah. Right, yeah, you put it down, and then the perfect one that would have been perfect for the spot you just filled comes up in the next hand that you draw.
Yeah.
Right, because as Ed says, Ed, there's a speed element, right, in the pass, and you as you pass.
There is, because unlike most drafting games where you pick something and then just go left to right depending on which round it is, the first round we're going to pass left, or the next round we're going to pass right. And here, once you are done drafting, you pick which opponent you're going to give your hand of tile to. So it's like, I'm going to pick this one. It's like, Mikey gets this.
Yep.
And that means like Evan would have to then pass his pile to Celeste. Mikey's not an option anymore.
Right, so it's first come, first serve for the pass.
Yeah, sort
Right.
of. Or yeah,
Which
you
is
might
rough.
look at the way somebody's board is developing, and then say, "Oh, this hand is trash for that player." You pass.
Yeah,
it
let me jam them up quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Here's
And,
your hot garbage. As we like
Here's
to
your
say.
trash. But I thought that this is one of the places where online it had a little bit of an advantage because it's keeping track of who you already passed to. You know what I mean? In real life,
yes.
you're like, did I pass to Celeste already? I can't
Oh
remember.
wow, yeah, that would have been a mind boggle.
Yeah, it would definitely burn the brain out a little.
Because you can't do it twice. You have to make sure.
Right.
Yeah, so that would have been a brain burner, and it blocks you. All right, thank you,
And
thank
it could
you,
also
BGA.
be a memory game in a sense because, like, okay, I just handed this to Mikey, and I know there's something else in there that I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass my next one quickly to Celeste to make sure that Mikey can only have the option of passing those back to me.
Right.
Ah.
I think honestly the most.
Well, hold on.
complex
That's
and-
2 layers.
I was
That is
gonna- I was just
2
gonna
layers
say,
of
I
strategy.
was say it's like I think the more interesting layer of strategy here was not putting the tiles down, but was deciding who to pass them to,
Because how to get the tiles back was
how
the
to get them
strategy.
back, and yeah, exactly. Trying to remember all that and like quickly pass them around. I thought that
Yeah,
was
'cause
more interesting. Yeah.
That's an excellent point because that's not something you get in Seven Wonders where you're like passing anywhere where you're passing around an entire set of like 6 people. You're like, who the heck
Okay,
knows?
I've not seen any of those again.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who knows what you're ever going to see again? Yeah. Yeah. Just expect to not see it again.
Right.
Yeah. So now then, Mike, you were saying you got a little lost in the scoring.
Yeah. I mean,
BGA did too much for you there.
maybe or maybe I just wasn't noticing the icons properly because there's a lot of different ways to score and they're very different from each other, but some of them mechanically feel similar, like when you're matching gemstones up to the corners or when you're matching circles up to the corners. Those two things score completely differently, although mechanically and physically it's the same kind of thing. So yeah, that messed me up a lot.
Yeah, because each of the animal or alien types, I should say, had a different scoring mechanism. One you want to group together, other ones I want it to be like in pairs. No, so trying to keep track of which goal you're trying to go with, because each one has their own special achievement to look for as a way to maximize points. It could be a little tricky when there's a lot of different ones.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't listed on the tile. You just had to remember these guys score like this, those guys score like that.
And
So-
they do have a reminder on the tile, but of course it's iconography.
Yeah.
So you'd have to already know what the iconography means
Yeah.
in order to be able to have it be a game aid rather than what the heck is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I sometimes, I mean, look, I'm no stranger to complex scoring. right? And, you know, try to explain above the line and below the line in a rubber bridge to somebody.
Yeah.
And
You
all that.
You can handle
Bonus
most
points.
board games. Yeah.
But I was lost. This is not intuitive scoring. So this would take several plays to really figure out what the heck you need to be doing with these cards.
Yeah.
You know, and how to arrange them. Because I was place and pray.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, not only do each creature score differently, but also, like, you have to remember what crystals mean, what the background means, what the creature on that background means, you know, like, there's a lot of layers of things that you need to just kind of know, or you're never going to be able to play with the speed you need to when you're passing these tiles around.
Yep. Oh yeah, speed was not. It was not happening for me.
No.
I mean,
I just
not
said,
at
these
all.
guys are cool. I'll get as many of these guys as I can and just try to, like,
Yeah.
group them together. That's what I ended up doing. It did not do well for my score, though. I'll tell you that.
So did Ed steamroll us? I don't even remember.
I think he did. I can't remember either offhand, but I remember doing poorly. So that's either you crushed it, Actually, no, Celeste, you might have won. You might
But
actually won
blind
this one.
luck, blind luck. If I did, blind
Yeah.
luck.
Subtle strategy.
Yeah,
So
no.
yes, deep. She's on the next level.
Yeah, it was.
Playing
It was.
4D chess and big monsters. That's
Yep.
what she's doing.
Yeah. It was deep dive strategy is what it was. But it was layers upon layers.
Layers.
the
Ogres have layers.
Total distraction while I was also, I'm sure, delivering trivia to our watchers.
Yep.
So you can see us play this game on YouTube in the live section of our YouTube channel. So if you want to watch us hope we understand the scoring, you can definitely do that there.
You could laugh at my frustration. You could. There's a lot of options.
Okay, explorers, it is time to dig up or bury Big Monster. Mike, let's hear it.
I appreciated the diversity of the creature art because, you know, if you watch Star Trek, everything's kind of humanoid, you know, there's very few things that aren't. These things were certainly not just a bunch of different colored humanoids. I appreciated that. But when it came down to it, I was so unsure about the scoring and how it worked that it kind of just was really off-putting for me, so I have to bury this one.
Ed?
The set collection of building up a nice tableau of these monsters and building a neat little collection, that was kind of neat. The packing of tiles to different players is a neat concept, but unfortunately in Board Game Arena, it game would kind of like stutter every time you pass something to something. So it kind of like interrupted your chain of thought a little bit. Like I'll be thinking about something, trying to rearrange my tiles, and then Mikey would pass something, and what I was just working on would get interrupted. And that was
Interesting.
Felt a
I
little
forgot
funky.
about that.
Interesting.
And so I'm going to give it a slight bury for now, but I'm still curious to see this in person.
Interesting. That's an excellent point. That was a weird thing.
Yeah, I did forget all about that,
Unexpected. So, okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to do with this game.
actually. Okay.
I'm going to say that it held my interest. I was genuinely curious as to how to build a tableau. The cards were engaging enough. The iconography is a challenge, and the scoring is a challenge, but not an insurmountable one. So try it out on BGA, definitely, and maybe think about getting the physical copy if you really want the full experience. I'm digging it up.
Yay.
Cool. All right.
All right, we want to know, are you a drafter or a hate drafter? Let us know. We are at Which Game First on all social media. And that brings us to the end of our show. We look forward to hearing from you guys. We love to hear from our fans. We are on Discord, on our Discord channel, Which Game First, and you can reach us there every day, anytime. We'd love to have you join our channel there and our server there. And check us out on YouTube. And if you get a chance in the new year, you feel like doing something nice for someone else, leave us a rating or a review on your favorite podcatcher. It hugely helps others find the show. And happy gaming, explorers.
I've got a hardback.
Can I see this letter I can't use to the big monster over there?
Maybe I'm the monster. Bye, everybody.